Welcome back to another North Carolina Tar Heels football recruiting podcast here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. And if you are watching us on our YouTube channel, that is called Tar Heel Illustrated. I'm THI publisher Andrew Jones, and joining me is our director of football recruiting, Miss Deana King. And Deana, the Carolina football recruiting train is chugging along at warp speed right now, racking up commitments left, right, and center. The Tar Heels get another one here on July 4th. Before we go into that, very quickly, a reminder, everybody. I took over the site August 1st, 2014. The price was $8.33 a month to be a premium member of THI. That means you get access to everything we do. All kinds of recruiting information that is premium, that is paid, behind the wall stuff. All kinds of other stuff, access to our boards, which are cordial and highly informative, not a lot of mudslinging going on. People love our boards. You have access to all this stuff. And it's just $8.33 a month, which is like going to a movie. In fact, it's cheaper than going to a movie. So if you love the Tar Heels and you want a place where you can have conversations with other smart, passionate Carolina fans, THI is definitely the place to go. Plus, all the information you're going to get. And in addition to that, guys, we go where the Tar Heels go. Football, basketball, I'm always there. So we're always covering the Tar Heels hard, 365 days a year. And remember, for just $8.33 a month, you can be a Carolina Tar Heels insider too. And you would know about Chris Culliver, whom Deana has written about in stories, in little notes in her Deana's Dandies thread and everything else for the last year and a half or so, going really picked up last year at Showtime in 2021 when he was one of the most impressive kids at that camp. We talked a lot about him since then. And now Chris Culliver here on July 4th has announced that he will play for Mack Brown, Lonnie Galloway, Phil Longo, and the Tar Heels. Very quickly, 3-star wide receiver from Maiden, North Carolina, Maiden High School in Maiden, 6'2", 180 pounds. Deanie chose Tar Heels over the Hokies and the Wolfpack. We'll get into some of his other offers and a few other specs about Chris Culliver. But what are your thoughts on Carolina landing Chris Culliver here in the class of 2023?
Well, fireworks off in the Keenan Football Center. Don't you like my July 4th shirt? Very festive day and everything. Culliver, he's a great pickup. I mean, I've been really high on him. The wide receiver room is just getting really good in there. They're young, but they're going to be really good. Excellent speed. I mean, he can do a lot of things. I mean, he's the best player on the field when Maiden takes the field. He does a little bit of everything. He's a return guy. He can play a little defense, and especially he can catch the ball. So great pickup. Maiden is a really diehard football towns. Some of these towns in North Carolina that eat, breathe, sleep, drink football, and Maiden is one of those towns. They love their Maiden Blue Devil football, and so he comes from a very winning program, historic program. So huge to get Chris Culliver.
We sometimes talk about kids that maybe aren't as highly rated as fans would prefer, and saying, hey, there's a lot of upside here. You know, we with DJ Geth, for example, we talk about, hey, he could end up at center, so don't worry about what the ratings are. Culliver's a kid, I think it's fair to say that he's a 3-star, but you see him as a 4. I see him as a 4. Clearly the staff sees him. They don't look at things in terms of star ratings, but what would be the equivalent of a pretty solid 4-star kid? He's really good.
Yeah. I mean, I do think he's up there. He's up there with the Christian Hamiltons, the Kevin Concepcions. They're all kind of in the same type mode. They got really good speed. They catch the ball. They're just playmakers. So I'm really high on him because I guess he's about 45 minutes from my house, and I know that area, and I think it's a huge pickup for North Carolina to get a guy in that area. I mean, they haven't had much recent success in that Hickory area and in the Catawba County area and stuff like that, the Western Foothills. So it's a big pickup. I know that he's been to Carolina several times. You mentioned before he got on basically everybody's radar after that Showtime performance last year, and he picked up an offer. And we were there. We kind of saw when the offer was made. He was there with Rico Walker, who's a good friend of his who plays at Hickory, also a big North Carolina target. They were both down there talking to Coach Brown and Miss Brown after the Showtime. And so just an in-state kid, trying to keep them to stay home, and they did that. Credit to Coach Galloway. I mean, I've mentioned it a lot. Coach Galloway is he can relate to a lot of these kids. A lot of them think of him as like another father figure. Yeah. So a big pickup for Coach Galloway and the Carolina offense.
Galloway's an underrated recruiter. Going back to the Showtime last year when he got the offer, these kids all put out there on Twitter, blessed and honored to receive an offer from such and such school, right? And they are. Most of the cases they are. I'm not going to say they're not being genuine. But when Chris Culliver did it, there was a different level of excitement. We talk to kids after they get offered for stories and stuff, and they tell you other things that you would expect them to say when the school offers. But it was different for Culliver. You could tell right away that this was a different offer. It was one that he badly wanted. And it's been 13 months now since I guess he got that offer, and now here he is committing. Very quickly, Deana, before you respond to that, a couple of other schools that offered Culliver as well. You have Ohio State, Michigan, Tennessee, Michigan State, South Carolina, among many others. He's the number 71 rated player nationally in the class of 2023 at his position, and he's the number 14 overall prospect in North Carolina. So a kid that wants that offer, gets that offer, and a year later commits. You kind of saw this coming for a while, although I think there was some pretty strong flirtation with a few other places. But in the end, this is what he wanted originally, and this is where he's popping.
Well, kids, they grow up, and, a lot of them do grow up to be fans of UNC if they're from North Carolina. But you mentioned other schools. I know Virginia Tech, he was really high on Virginia Tech, and that comes from I believe his mother is from that area. And then Caleb Farley, who played at Maiden a few years ago, that went on to play and star at Virginia Tech and now in the NFL. Yep. You know how it is at these big time football programs. Kids look up to other kids in their program. And I think Chris really looked up to Caleb, and saw his journey and everything. But it was a tough recruitment, a battle. And, the staff at UNC ultimately won that battle. I mean, It's just, it's you see kids, and I think I'm pretty good judgment of kids, and sometimes you just know. I mean, and you'll mock my accent, Andrew. I just think he's just going to be a Tar Heel, But it's fun to watch these kids and go through this process, because a lot of these kids, when they first start out, they're begging for attention. They're like, "Hey, Miss King, make me a profile, do this, tweet my huddle out." And then, they don't realize when as soon as that them offers and interest stuff, it is just constant. And sometimes it's just a big relief to get this decision over, because a lot of the phone calls and the texts are kind of go away. unless it's the team that they commit to. Of course,
Yeah.
we always check in on the kids, after they commit, see how they're doing. But it's a stressful situation, and he's just decided on the July 4th to commit to UNC.
But you're always right. Always. You were right on this. And one of the things I always admire is that you let the kids have their day. You don't bug them too much. You let them have their day. We don't have the need to run 48 Chris Culliver stories. People know what's going on. You go on our boards. There's a little blurb by Deana. That's as good as anything that you can get with respect to getting information and updates on these kids. And you can only do that for $8.33 a month, which is a premium membership to THI. Chris Culliver, a 3-star wide receiver from Maiden, North Carolina. If you like that he committed to North Carolina, go ahead and click like on this video. Make sure you share it with all your Tar Heel friends. And guys, it's less than the price of a movie ticket, and you can be a Carolina Tar Heel insider too. She's Deana. I'm AJ. Happy 4th, and thanks for stopping by.